Friday. Welcome back to the channel. It is a somewhat overcast, windy, about to rain day in Tallahassee. So I figured I'd get out on the bike and talk about something that's been on my mind. As I keep seeing it and seeing lots of other things that sort of revolve around it. It was a yellow arrow. Why wouldn't you turn on a yellow arrow? Here's what I'm thinking about today. The Harley Davidson Livewire is, in my opinion, probably the greatest piece of engineering and innovation that Harley has created and released in potentially ever. Like, I'm gonna go so far as to say potentially ever. It might be the most impressive thing that Harley Davidson has ever built and sold. And here's why, okay? Number one, I can think of one electric motorcycle manufacturer. I can think of one brand, one builder, zero, who make an electric motorcycle, and there are basically no major bike manufacturers that are making electric bikes. Now, the knee-jerk reaction might be, well, if no one else is doing it, if none of the other big players are doing it, then clearly it's not a priority for them, and it doesn't really make sense for it to be a priority for Harley Davidson. That is clearly where the automotive market in the broader automotive world is headed, right? I remember when I was in middle school or high school, whenever the Tesla Roadster was first released, and I remember thinking, oh, that's cool, it's a sports car for people with the money to do it, it's not going to catch on, you know, I didn't know much about people like Elon Musk and that sort of superhero billionaire world, however you want to think about it, look at it, and all I thought was, this is a neat idea that, you know, some people are going to buy, some people are going to be interested in if they've got the money, and then we're going to see Tesla pretty much disappear. And very clearly, that's not what happened. Musk, you know, doubled down on Tesla, he's built Gigafactory, he's invested, or I guess the company has invested, you know, millions upon millions upon millions of dollars into, you know, battery research and battery development and engineering and manufacturing, to the point where they have multiple models. They're doing, you know, they're doing large announcements and press releases and conferences at auto shows, etc., or, you know, back when they could, that's what they were doing. And, you know, there's even been controversy around Tesla because they couldn't build enough of their cars fast enough to meet demand on pre-orders. So that's how that's going, right? And Tesla's one example. Volvo has committed to having an all-electric lineup by, like, you know, middle of this decade. And other manufacturers are putting a ton of money into the electric drivetrain segment, right? Porsche with the 918, and then the Taycan, which I understand is a plug-in hybrid. But still, the idea of hybrids becoming mainstream, and not just like, I don't mean small commuter, you know, little gas sipper electric hybrids. You know, Porsche's coming at it. Audi with their e-tron, BMW has hybrid offerings, etc. So when you're large manufacturers, when you're luxury level manufacturers, when you're super multi-conglomerate manufacturers within a corporation like Volkswagen are making this technology a part of their average and regular offerings, other segments within that larger automotive sphere are going to follow suit. And for Harley Davidson to say, yep, you know what, we're going to be the first major manufacturer to jump on this, we're going to be, you know, the first ones to deliver a ready-for-market electric bike, and, you know, it's going to look cool, it's going to look futuristic, it's going to have really cool features, it's going to have, you know, performance parts on it, yada, yada, yada. For Harley Davidson to do that, that tells us that there is life in the company. There is guts in the company, and at least when Livewire was launched as a project, there was leadership in the company that said, this is worth doing. And quite honestly, as a younger rider who grew up with Harley Davidsons being the only motorcycles that I really paid attention to or saw, you know, fairly frequently or consistently, I don't have this view of Harleys as being just like baggers, or being just, you know, guys with white beards and leather vests that go travel the country or are in outlaw gangs. Like, that's not my view of Harley Davidson, and I don't think it is in the best interest of the motor company for everybody's concrete notion of what a Harley Davidson is to be stopped at those old ideas of what bikers and motorcyclists are and should be. I think the most impressive thing that my American motor company could be is an innovator and a leader in new segments and in the motorcycle market, period. Right? There's after announcements within the last week from the motor company, there's been just a deluge of videos talking about the death of Harley and is Harley going to disappear, and, you know, other sort of somewhat panicky clickbait titles, but they're not unjustified. And so while I don't claim to be a corporate, economic, finance, design guru in any capacity or to any extent, I do know a couple things. I know, one, I am a part of the demographic that Harley Davidson needs to captivate and capture and get into their showrooms as soon as possible. The people that are between 25 and 40 are the people that in 15 years are going to be 40 to 55, which right now is where the core demographic of Harley customers lies. So they need to get us into riding, and I think part of attracting younger minds is seeing that there's more to this motor company than what you think. There's more to motorcycling than what you think, and there's more to Harley Davidson than just baggers and sportsters. And I think realizing that all the way up at the corporate level is something that would be really helpful for the motor company. I also think that within the community, it seems so backwards to me to be so gung-ho for this brand, so gung-ho for this company, so in love with motorcycling, and to spend time bashing one of the coolest offerings from that beloved motor company. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, it really is kind of like High School Musical, you know, where the dad was portrayed as being kind of this jerk because his son was good at basketball and that was the big thing that he did, but his son also discovered another skill set and another interest and another passion, and, you know, the father and the friends of Troy, the character in that movie, they just railed against every inkling he had of pursuing that other interest, that other skill set, despite the fact that he was actually pretty good at it. And I think that's really analogous. I think that transfers to the Livewire situation because, yes, Harley Davidson makes good baggers, they make good touring bikes. You know, the Sportster's been around since the 50s, right? They've had lots of sort of benchmark historical bikes, whether it was, you know, the XR 750 or the introduction of the V-Rod, and that's a whole another story we could talk about because the community did the exact same thing to the V-Rod in the mid-2000s as they're doing to the Livewire right now. I think it's backwards. And you know what's funny about the V-Rod situation, and I think the same thing would happen with the Livewire, after they stopped just building the V-Rod and like stocking it in showrooms, you know, the last couple years of production where you had to order it from the factory just to get one. Since then, and since they discontinued manufacturing of the V-Rod, they are hot commodities, right? When the Tallahassee Harley shop got taken over by new leadership, or by new management, they brought in a V-Rod on their used lot. I saw it the first day that I visited for the first time, just to look at their inventory and shake some hands with new management. And then the next time I was there, which wasn't even a week later, it was gone. One of the guys that rides in the Tallahassee riding community, he's another college kid, rides a V-Rod muscle, and he absolutely loves it. And there's, if you know, on Instagram, on Facebook, if you follow motorcycle or Harley accounts, that just like, you will see that the V-Rod, and especially the customized fat wheel V-Rod style, is an incredibly popular piece of content that gets shared and reposted constantly. And I think the Livewire, I think the Harley community could do the same thing to the Livewire that they did to the V-Rod, and I think that would be a huge mistake. Here's what I would love to see in here is if you haven't ridden a Livewire, if you have yet to throw a leg over a Livewire and take it out for more than just around the parking lot, don't bash the bike. Don't sit on Facebook and don't sit in Harley's comment section and just bash the Livewire. It's not a real Harley. It doesn't look like a Harley. That's not a real American bike. That's BS. This is our American motor company. They make machines and they make bikes that we love, that we buy, that we ride. If our motor company decides that they want to innovate, they want to insert themselves into a new segment, they want to be leaders, they want to develop new engineering and new technology, we should love them and cheer for them as they do it. Even if it's not going to be the next bike that you go out and buy, chances are, dude, right? If you're a 68-year-old retiree that's been riding around on an Ultra Limited for the last 20 years, there's nothing wrong with that. You are a part of a huge demographic that has kept Harley afloat, but they didn't build the Livewire for you, okay? It's not a touring bike, clearly. It's not a regularly built and designed cruiser. Like, it is sort of like a naked bike-ish, right? Sort of like a sport cruiser, but it's all electric, and that's a big deal. And we need to cheer for our motor company, and we need to love on them for it, because they are innovating, they are pushing the envelope. And here's the other thing, the other big complaint, $30,000, who's gonna buy that? Bro, dude, like a Road Glide Special can easily push $35,000. Don't even get me started on CVO pricing. We all know that CVOs are not worth the money that people pay, but they pay for it because it's a CVO Harley. The one thing to remember about new technology and new offerings is that the first offering always sort of shoulders the cost of the entire project, so that subsequent offerings and subsequent development can come at a lower entry price for consumers, right? Going back to Tesla, the Roadster was not an inexpensive vehicle. It was not built for people that make sort of average income, if you will. It was built and designed, manufactured and sold to and for people who made the kind of income that could afford it. And then what happened over the subsequent 10 to coming into 15 years? They started offering different models with better technology at a lower price. The Livewire will be no different. Harley's electric bike offerings are going to get better, they're going to get bigger, they're going to come with greater range capacity, they're going to come with faster charging rates, and they're going to come with lower prices if we ask for it, and I think we should. I know with the change-up of corporate leadership out of the motor company, we don't really know necessarily what direction they're going to go, but here's what I know. Ditching the Livewire would be a bad move. That's what I think. I think it would be a bad move, and I think it would be worth it for the American Motor Company to be the leader in electric bike technology. And that's where I'm at on that. So let me know what you guys think. Hit like, hit subscribe, drop down in the comments, let me know what you think. If you've ridden a Livewire, what did you think? If you've seen a Livewire, what did you think? If you've never heard of the Livewire and you're going to go take 5 minutes to check it out and see what it's about, let me know what you think. So, I'm the two-wheel teacher. This was another Friday Road Rant. I gotta get going. I'll see you guys on the road.